Hi, Joe.
Hello, my love. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
No, don't ask me that today. It's
Oh,
yeah, think it's not been the best week last week, so I lost Mr. Hoagie suddenly and quite traumatically. So, yep, what dogs do to us really. There's a huge gigantic Hoagie hole in our home, so we're all struggling a little bit, but keeping busy is what I need to do. So I'm here.
yeah, good girl. No, it is tough. It's really tough. I lost my Rottie in November, um, and I have a massive Rottie hole in my life right now. Um, although I've got obviously got my new supercharged Husky, who I've had to put in the car this morning because he's absolutely doing my head in.
Oh no, what's he done?
Oh man,
Tell
he just wakes up every morning with even more energy than he had the day before.
I
Um,
don't know why you do this to yourself.
no,
The
I don't
Rottweiler
either.
to the Husky.
No, I know it's madness. So yeah, he's in the car at the minute. He's going to go for a walk in a minute. But yeah, he's happy out there. He's got a bone and watching the traffic go by. So yeah, no, I've
Playing
got a
with the traffic.
huge Rottweiler hole in my house. And the trouble is, when you love these breeds, you can't kind of because I keep thinking, oh, I'll get another one. I'll get a puppy. I'll get another one and it'll be, but no, it's 15, 16 years of more of the same, isn't it? So I
Well,
don't
I
know.
think I
It's
think
hard.
that's the thing. You just I don't know. I'm really Moose is really struggling. I think the whole losing his big brother, and although we got to do the dignified goodbye that I wanted to do, Moose wasn't there. So in the day, Hoagie kind of went off and didn't return, and he's still, we're a week on today, and he's still looking for him. He still runs back, checks the car. He is here next to me today. He's just silent, Vic. I'm walking into the house. I've got my other halves dog here 50% of the time, and bless him, he's dropped him back to me today because Moose is just a mess. And I think it's when you've got your kids and another dog that are falling apart, it just compounds it, doesn't it? So I've done the puppy thing. Um, yeah, I mentioned to you about considering a completely different breed, and that might be a corgi. And I wasn't really sure about the reaction that I got on the message I sent back. Are we not loving the idea of a corgi?
You get a corgi if you want. I mean, they're probably
Tell me, what do
well,
we,
they're
what?
probably the complete opposite
Yeah,
to a Labrador, but
it
yeah,
couldn't
why
be more
not?
opposite.
Mix it up, mix it up. Yeah. No, we'll do. I'll tell you what, we'll do a whole pod on breeds, shall we? Because it's the fascinating subject and huge. So
Yeah, it is.
we'll
I
do a
mean,
whole pod. But I mean, it does. Getting another one. I mean, I was not planning on having a husky or any other dog for that matter. Once when Neo went, I was like, right, I'm going to start downsizing my pack. Because I would really like to get back down to two dogs. And I was not planning on having another one, but I have to tell you, it does help.
and the hole in my stomach is just, oh, it's just ridiculous. And the only thing that really kind of helps you just crack on is to get back to work and to have a new project. They're irreplaceable, but a new project really does. And
It
I don't
does.
know. I mean, I went down the corgi route. So anyone listening that knows anything about corgis, I think probably a cardigan, because apparently I've read that the Pembrokes, that I was originally looking at, um, are really, really high drive, really high resource focused. And I have worked with one quite recently, which is what put me on the trail, really. He was lovely. But yeah, anybody that knows anything about corgis, let me know, because having something a bit different is an interest right now, but it's just keeping this miserable brain busy. And then the Labrador thing will still be happening. I
Mm.
can't not have two labs, and that'll be probably the summer. So I might end up with 3 or 4 dogs. Be careful what you wish for, right? You go from one back up to six.
Well, I know. Well, you've been telling me for ages I'm stupid having more than four dogs, and now you're going to be in the same boat. So yeah,
I kind of
looking
am, but
forward to that.
I'm in this grief
What goes
period. So
around, Joe? What goes around?
Listen, the last time I got a bit emotionally stressed was about 8 weeks after I had Olivia, and I've got a tattoo that on my foot that I never wanted. So I'm going to be careful and sit pretty with this for a little while yet.
Okay, okay.
Moving on.
Moving on. Let's go away from death of dogs because it's hideous. Right. Well, we have a guest today. Look at us. We're only in week 3 of our pod, and we've got a guest already. Amazing. So I want to introduce Mr. Ross McCarthy to our little Vic and Joe's dog pod. Um,
Hey, you two.
Hello. Right, you need a quick lesson in how to punch your way through on the verbal conversation so that we don't just completely ignore our guest and don't let him get a word in. So
No,
I'm
well,
going
we
to
have
zip
we
it.
have got him here for a specific reason. We're going to talk about a CIDBT and Guild Dog Trainers networking day that's coming up. But before we do that, what are your thoughts on corgis, Mr. McCarthy?
I love a corgi. I'm on Team Joe.
Yay!
Get yourself get yourself a Pembroke corgi, and that's for these labs. Yeah, get on. They're cool. I love them.
Great.
Right now,
They're
I'm
good
definitely
enough
not
for
getting one.
Queen.
Can you quantify that, or is it just that you love them
If
because
they're
they
good
look
enough for the
pretty?
Queen, they're good enough for Joe, aren't they? You know, he
I
rolls with them
love
for
that.
beard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And
Honestly, I'm a fan of having little. I love a little dog. I mean, I've got 2 big dogs and 2 little dogs. I love a little dog. I think it's great. I mean, I don't want, I don't want our pod to encourage everybody to rush out and buy Huskies and Rottweilers and Corgis, but um, yeah, I love a little dog. I think it's important, have one have one on your lap. Why not?
They're lovely until they bark. That's the only thing, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
that shrill bark. But the corgis don't. The corgis have a deeper bark, so you'll be all right with that, Joe.
well, I'm moving on the 30th of April. Finally, that's all done. So we're unfortunately having to downsize, but it'll be our little pad. So I was just kind of thinking I need to be mindful of room, right?
Mm.
Can't be living with us all on top of each other. But yeah, they just look quite fun. But I've already made a little avenue in to have a chat with a breeder, so I might just go down that route and see. But watch this space, guys.
Awesome. I think that's awesome. Yeah,
Best
good for
thing
you.
to do, just while I'm here, I might as well chip in.
Right,
Best thing to do,
well,
I find, for lots of people to recommend is just go to a breed show and just spend a day, looking at the dogs, chatting to the breeders. It's a really useful thing to do that not many people sort of bother with. So yeah, have a look at your corgi breed clubs, see when they're on, and go and play with some corgis.
Fab idea.
it is a good
Fab.
idea. We see a lot of it. Obviously, we run our workshops up at Stoneleigh Park in the Kennel Club building, so we see dog shows all year, and there's such a good way of choosing and understanding a breed is to go. Yeah, I mean, 100% agree with that.
I mean, I've always been a really kind of big dog. Oh, well, I've been, you know me. You know me, I'm very, very Labrador based, very boring. But a kind of little dogs have never been my thing. And when you start looking around, and I'm looking at all these individual breeds that we see all of the time, and I think you take for granted how intense their working drives are and how these strong working drives in your terrier traits and your herding breeds like put into tiny little boxes, you can really kind of appreciate how problematic they end up being, because actually people get them because they're small and they're cuddly and they want them on their sofas, on their laps, but actually in comparison to some of the big power breeds and the more established working dogs, they're right up there with the same intensity, if not bigger and stronger. So, yeah, I was kind of like, God, how do you narrow this down to something? I don't want a busman's holiday. I want to come home to a little bit of calm. Don't mind the work, but, I have a lot on my plate and I'm very mindful of that. So, yeah, it was quite hard actually, even trying to choose which smaller breed would actually even work for us as a family.
Yeah, I think a corgi's a nice idea. They can be really quite calm, can't they? And settled. I think they're lovely. Yeah,
Well, they're
no,
proper dog. I just felt that it's proper dog energy, isn't it?
it's not
It's
your mad
not.
lab, is it?
No, which I've got one who's not very mad at the moment, and which has to happen. There has to be two of those back in the house at some point. But I think as an interim, yeah, stop it. You're making me go out and spend whatever they are, £2,500.
I know. And you're not. Don't be buying a dog as an interim, young lady. Excuse me. You buy a
No,
dog for life.
I didn't mean it would be passed on. I meant that the project would be a different type of project until the Labrador arrives. No, whatever arrives in this house stays until it.
Yes, I know. I know. No, good for you. Yeah, good for you.
We'll see.
Yeah, you've taught me round 10 minutes. That's all it took. Right, okay. Let's have a chat about this networking day because this is big news. So, what was the idea behind this, Ross? Where did it come from?
So I guess what we find is really important is that we kind of start to collaborate more in the industry. You know, there's lots of, I think you have spoken about this previously on the podcast and things like that, how divisive the industry can be as a whole. And I think what's really important is that we do come together, we do share ideas, we do collaborate, and we can signpost people to other practitioners or trainers or whatever else kind of around the UK, really. So, yeah, the idea is to get together with people from different facets of the industry. So, dog sports competitors, yeah, all sorts of people that we might not encounter or get to speak to at any other time. So, just a nice day out, really. That's the idea.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. Is this going to be like a yearly thing? I think it
Yeah,
should.
we hope so. I mean, this year at the moment we've got like 100 kind of attendees.
Mm.
So yeah, Joe's speaking. She's just had a freak out. Um,
We were only at 70 last I checked.
and well, we pumped it. We've just been to Crufts, haven't we, a few weeks ago. So we got quite a lot of interest from Crufts as well. So yeah, hopefully it should be a good event, and then we'll alternate speakers and things and see
So
how it goes.
what's happening during the day? Like just I mean, we'll come to you in a minute, Joe, because I know you're speaking on the day, but what's kind of the rough, I know you really kind of rough outline
So
of the
basically,
day.
we've got a number of speakers throughout the day and a number of people doing some demos and things with dogs. So I'll run through if you want the speakers that we've got.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And then Joe can maybe fill us in with what she's going to be speaking about or whatever. So we've got Anna Herzog, who is
Awesome.
a competitive dog sports what's the word? I was going to say instructor. That's not the term. She's got a very cool title, but she does FCI obedience, Kennel Club obedience, and lots of dog sports. She has some fascinating methods of training. So she's coming to speak. We've got Les Graham, who's coming to do a talk on the physiology of equipment. So that will be really interesting, looking at how equipment affects the dog from a physiological viewpoint and maybe a psychological viewpoint as well. Joe Croft, don't know what she's talking about. She'll let us know. We've
Neither
Well,
do
got
whatever,
I. Yeah.
whatever she's talking about, we need to put a cap on it. So she doesn't spend all day.
no. Well,
Stop!
also, yeah, saying that we've got one of our lovely students, Torsten. He's going to be our compere for the day, for want of a better word. So he's in charge of keeping things on track, keeping Joe muted. You know,
Well,
yeah.
he's going to have a code.
So he's going to have, yeah, well, we'll just rugby tackle him, get you in the car. And then we've also got Ryan Llewellyn and Dave McIver, who are police officers. Or Dave's a retired police officer, and they're going to have a little chat about how police dogs have changed over the time that they've both been in the industry. So that'll be fascinating. Um, We've got Dean Smith coming along with Nathaniel Lewis. Nathaniel is quite a well-known decoy, does a lot of protection work with dogs. Dean Smith's an IGP competitor, so they're coming to do a bite work demo. We've got Emily Gill and Deanna Bertie coming to do talks. There are the Guild Young Trainer Ambassadors. So they're coming to do talks on sort of young trainers in the industry. And Emily's also going to be doing some trick training demos with one of her spaniels. Penny Davis is coming. She's going to be doing some gun dog stuff outside. We've got Melissa Cyril. She is going to be doing some scent work stuff. We've got Rachel Bean, our very own Green Bean.
Green
She is
bean.
coming. She's going to be doing CPR demo and things like that. And we've got Roy Young. He's going to come and talk about Adoy, which is a very cool, exciting new development, which maybe you'll revisit on this podcast at some point.
We're definitely going to talk about Adoy on this podcast. Not today, but we're definitely going to do that. Yes, very important. That sounds like an amazing day.
It's a really cool day, and hopefully we're going to have plenty of time to kind of, well, I say that kind of packed. But
Mm,
hopefully we'll get plenty of time to have coffee, have lunch, chat, connect, share ideas, share business cards, and make some new contacts.
mm.
How is the visual demo stuff going to work alongside the kind of lecture type scenario? Are you interspersing the lectures and then sending everybody outside? How are you doing it?
Yeah, there was. I mean, the original plan, obviously, these events evolve because they're all quite difficult to put on, aren't they? I think people don't realise the amount of effort that goes into like a day out.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the original plan was that it was going to be we were going to have lectures, and then possibly the lectures would be repeated, and the stuff going on, the training stuff going on outside, so people could duck in and duck out. But we quickly realised that that wasn't going to work very well. So we'll be inside for a little while. Then it'll be time for coffee. Then it'll be kind of outside for some fresh air to see the demos and back in and things like that. So a nice kind of day of movement, really. You don't want to be sitting in a stuffy room,
No.
do you? So it should be quite a cool, yeah, quite a nice event. But as always, we learn, don't we? So this one will probably not be the same as the next year's one because we'll learn from this year's. So
Mm.
yeah, we shall
And
see.
just for that one person out there who doesn't know where this is and what's about it, because we've been throwing it around social media for the last goodness knows how long. It's at the Kennel Club building in Stoneleigh Park, isn't it?
It's at the Royal Kennel Club building.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do apologise. And how do people enroll if they want to?
They can, like you just mentioned, if you're not on our Instagram socials, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah,
Because we work hard on that and we need followers and likes and shares. Um, so you can check us out, CIDBT Instagram, and there's lots of links on there. You cannot fail to find it on the Instagram page, or you can go on the CIDBT website, look on bespoke workshops, and find the Guild Networking Day.
cool, cool. And I understand there's lunches included.
Lunch is included,
I mean,
sandwiches. Yeah.
having worked with and for the CIDBT for very many years, I'm astounded that lunch is included. I'm I'm coming just for the lunch. No, I'm coming to yeah.
I'm
Hope
not sure
talk about
lunch
Come
will.
CIDBT.
into what? A heckle from the back or shut me
No,
down?
well, yeah,
You come in.
heckle you. Yes, no, just no, I'm there as a CIDBT representative, of course. That's my passion. Yeah.
What are you talking about then, Joe?
Oh God. Well, do you know what? I saw the little thing go up this week that we've got to have our PowerPoint presentations in by the 4th of May and had a little minor meltdown because I had put something down, but in true Joe style, I hadn't managed to save it. So it was all gone. So I've only just put my fingers to the keyboard and got something together. But I am doing, and that's why I asked you about the outdoor bit, because I've got neuroscience in dog behavior. So I really want everyone to have been out and done something else off their bottoms before they have to come and sit and endure that. So I've kind of done an outline and I'm going to try, rather than going into the kind of real overwhelming nitty-gritty of neurotransmitters and chemical names and processes, etc., which I think everybody will just be yawning at the back. I've kind of done an overview of all that stuff and simplified it. And then my task now is to weave in things that are going to be useful for people. So I've spent many years trying to figure out anxiety and what the drivers are for that and what the components are to that. And I guess what I'm going to try and do is kind of put over some tools and techniques and tips and things that would be helpful for people working with dogs so they can actually walk away with, okay, I heard all that stuff and that white noise stuff, but actually I've got a handful of things here to that will allow me to access the neuroscience part of dog behavior, but I don't need to know the nitty-gritty, but I've got tools. So, I'm going to have good old Frank, my Daxi. So he covers everything really because he was on pharmaceuticals. He had very strong breed traits. He was diagnosed as a fear aggressive Daxi, and he wasn't in the slightest fearful. But he was on 3 different lots of medication, ahead of a lot of other behaviourists before me. And kind of the way in really was to understand what was going on with him from the inside out. So I'm going to use him as a case study to kind of lighten the load and just chat about him and what we did with him. But I'm going to touch on pharmaceuticals, the good, the bad, the ugly. alongside kind of tools and training and techniques, really. So, I mean, it's a quite a difficult subject to be animated about.
Well, it just,
But I'm
yeah,
going to try.
you're time limited as well, so it's not easy, is it?
Well, no, I mean, I've just looked at it already and I'm up to like 22 slides. And if you can imagine, I only need about four to fill 45 minutes. So yeah, so it's a work in progress. I'll have to slim it down, but I will make sure it's rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed so that I can keep it in my time limit. So I'm kicked off. But it should be
We'll have
such
to
a
just
good day.
fast forward, won't we? Have a button fast forward, Joe. Joe's going to start now. Let's put her in like triple time.
So on that, Vic, I had a minor meltdown, didn't I, about last week? So I just felt like I got a bit too passionate and excitable about the whole thing. And doing the podcast, it's really funny because it just gives you this big opportunity to reflect on who you are as a person. So yeah, I don't mean to talk over the top of everybody. I just get excited about my dogs, my little world.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. You're great, and you know huge amounts, and what you know is really interesting and important. It's just technical and a little bit difficult to.
Well, and it's also you've also got to find it right. I could do without some of the fluff. We need to get to the point. So I'm going to be mindful about this, guys, as we move on, and that we get to the point quickly.
I think it's really good because you fill the gaps for people like me that can't be asked to talk. Do you know what I mean? So actually, I can just sit and listen to you, and you can just crack on. That suits me fine.
So I'm obviously mindful of time as always. So we're just going to cover, Ross, please feel free to stay put and jump in as and when. That'd be lovely. But we're going to have a quick chat about the new law that came in on the 18th of March about dogs chasing, which is a little bit passion of mine because I ride horses. And dogs chasing horses is never good, no matter which way you look at it. But before then, we're just going to have a look at this prescription fee cap that we have seen been thrown about on social media, which, if this happens, will be very excellent. So just to sort of give you a brief outline, there's rumours that the prescription is going to be capped. So vets will no longer be able to charge unlimited fees for writing prescriptions, which, for some people I know is good because some veterinarians do go a bit bonkers with their fees. And the what's come up is it's £21 for the first medicine and then 12.50 for each additional item on the same prescription, rather than paying, a huge fee for every single time you have it. And this is specifically the fee for issuing the prescription, not the cost of the medicine itself. So, yeah, quite a nice little introduction if that happens. And you two, I know recently have had sort of fairly big vet bills, haven't you? Would that have affected you guys? Was that a thing that would have affected you, or is that not really? Is it more about the fees you're paying the vets to do the work on the animal rather than kind of prescriptions?
I think for me, it wouldn't make a great big difference because it's the cost of, excuse me, kind of surgical intervention and the dog having to be in the veterinary care for like a day or whatever. That just the fees are just extortionate. I mean, I was just looking at some of the information about the prescription fees, and apparently they've gone up 63% from 2016 to 2023. And when you go into the vet, obviously your dog's unwell, and you've got this huge financial kind of consideration as well, haven't you? You go and you think, God, how much is this going to cost? When I went in the other week, one of my dogs had a scan, a bladder scan, ultrasound, 1,200 quid. I'd already paid 300 quid for a urine test, plus whatever else before that for antibiotics. So, I mean, you're coming up to sort of nearly 2 grand. And it's, where do you find that money? Where do people find it? Luckily, a lot of people have pet insurance, don't they? But the fees are extortionate.
I think you have to be careful with the pet insurance as well, because I've got pet insurance for both my dogs, but to ensure that it was anywhere close to affordable, um, I've only got 3 grand cover for each dog, and I paid 20% of the fees. But obviously, the vet's just here that you're insured, right? Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's pretty raw what we went through last week, but I can't fault my general practice vet. They were awesome, and you know what? The professional service I received was very fair. I think when he ended up at the out of hours service, some of the things that I was quoted, which in my opinion were never going to bring me back my dog. They were going to prolong what was, in my opinion, that was both professional and personal opinion, was the inevitable. He wasn't coming home. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but you know, my bill went from an overnight support of £2,000 to an overnight support in ICU in a dog who, you know, wasn't coming home the next day of £6,000. So I intervened, and without, I'm not at a point where I can divulge too much detail, but without that, I spent 4 hours stuck between a rock and a hard place, overtaking a punt of which the percentage chance of him actually surviving this was zero, if anything. And just to caveat that, 2 years ago, I spent £10,000 saving his life, having his spleen removed for a similar thing. Of which he had a 4% chance of survival then because he was bleeding out. And this time round was worse. And if I was a client without the knowledge that I've got, I would have been waking up on Thursday morning with no dog, but with £10,000, probably somewhere in the region of £8,000 to £10,000 to clear.
Do
Just
you
for
think,
him.
Joe, do you think that £10,000, I mean, I had the same thing like 2 years ago. I think it was 10 grand for a 4 day stay in the vets. Do you think it's 10,000? Can that really be
So,
justified?
well, so the 2 years ago, um, I can see how that got. Again, I couldn't fault this practice at all. It wasn't my local practice. I was away from home. But for that, they literally saved his life. He had full surgical support. He had a splenectomy. Moose was a donor. He had a transfusion. He was monitored like one on one for the entire 24 hours he was there post surgery. It was an out of hours shout as well. So it was an on call vet. Um, there was aftercare. I mean, I think in that moment, yes, if I'd have landed, and listen, I don't know if it had been 10 grand, but I was quoted somewhere in the region of 4 to 6 to start with. And that was for basically the next few hours in ICU to see where it went. So if they'd kept him alive, of which they potentially, even though he was bleeding out completely into his abdomen, um, if they'd have managed to keep him alive and keep his heart going till the following morning, you know, half the night, 4 to 6K, you know, it's not rocket science. I could have been looking at that bill. Uh, it was unnecessary. I think it falls into a question. I have to be very careful what I say, but a very big question over why wasn't a more sensible discussion had with me? Why did I have to bring that to the table? Um, I do know licensing for pet drugs is extremely expensive. New drugs to the market costs a fortune. So the cost of drugs is very high. It's been a very long time since I've been in practice. At the time I was in practice, I did feel like vet practices were justified in what they charged. I just did. We were hardly paid anything. I saw where most of the costs went. I was responsible for building price lists and making sure everything was covered. And when you're sitting there being told, we may be able to save your dog, we may not, but you're looking at a bill of 5 to 10 grand, knowing you don't necessarily have that money, what a terrible place to be in as an owner because you want to do everything right. So it's a really delicate subject to kind of to talk about and around because you know there are costs involved and I appreciate that, but I just wonder whether, and I'm totally leaving my general practice out of this because they're very fair. But some of the bigger corporates, some of the stuff I'm hearing, I'm a bit cautious about
Mm.
without, you know, trying to be a little bit PC. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I do get it. I think just going back to the prescription, I think where it's going to help is, I mean, a lot of people have, they'll have prescriptions. The vets will give them prescriptions each month or each whatever, however long, to go off and buy drugs cheaper elsewhere because that is really common. So, other places you can, buying a drug from a vet will cost you. I mean, I had an example the other week. A drug at a vet was going to cost me 3 times as much as it was going to cost me buying it from BioVet. So I just had the prescription. So that's where it's going to save money because the prescriptions aren't going to be as much now. So I can get the prescription to go away and buy the drugs a lot cheaper. So I'm
So
hoping.
I'm a bit out of the loop with this, Vic. So each time you want to buy your repeat prescription currently, you get a repeat prescription fee from the vet,
You get a
and then you buy
prescription. Yeah, to buy drugs online, you have to have a prescription if they're prescribed
yeah.
drugs. You have to have a
But you
prescription from the vet. So
every time.
yeah, every time. Yeah. So
So is that every you get in every 6 months, every year,
whatever,
or
whatever you're, because some, if they only give me a month's worth of drugs, so if my
well,
prescription
yeah.
is a month's worth of drugs, then I have to get another prescription a month later. But I can buy the drugs, huge amount cheaper online than I can through my vet. So they give me a prescription, but I'm having to pay for the prescription. So if there's a cap on the prescription charge, that's good.
How much do you pay for your prescription now? Do you know? I had to pay when I wanted some medical.
It's more than this £12. I think it was 14 or so. I don't even know, but it's more than £12.50.
I had to pay like 60 quid. So I wanted to pick up some medication from a vet when we were working at the kennel club.
Mm.
So I got my vet to, you know, send a prescription over, and yeah, it's blooming ridiculous. I
What,
mean, it's just
What,
£60?
60 quid was the prescription?
yeah, and
So
then I
there
had
we
to
are.
obviously.
So yeah, there you go. Point case in point.
Mm,
Wow, Ross, that's appalling.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, you already pay a GP 30 quid. You pay a GP £30 to write you a prescription or a letter or whatever what you
It
might
wasn't your
need.
vet, was it? Sorry, Joe, talk over you. It wasn't your vet. That was probably why. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I think that there should be a cap. That's good. It's a good thing.
Cool, you've opened a hornet's nest with that question, didn't you?
I know. Can
I
we move
think
on?
the problem is with the whole how I saw it when I worked within it is vets love animals, generally quite like people, and good vets are generally not business people. Right. So what you got was quite a lot of mental health issues. You may well still have that in general practice now. I think there are for different reasons, but certainly the practices that I worked in, the hierarchy. I mean, I was a head nurse in a practice of about 25 people, 28 people, including receptionists. My boss was an awesome vet, but he was a vet and it was family run and his dad had retired. So there was basically him and then me. And he was busy all the time. I was busy all the time, but I managed all these people. I mean, I left there almost in a wooden box. It was just no way that it was doable. So having the corporates come in now and offer support from a business perspective is great. But then they all need pay. So there's extra costs involved in having those members of staff. And I guess this is where the drive for the practices to be businesses over and above, you know, welfare support for animals and clients has changed. It's changed so much. I could never go back to vet practice now. You just don't have the familiarity in the majority of places that you knew your clients inside and out. You're lucky. I love my practice. They're great. I know them very well, but that's quite rare. Most of my clients tell me that every time they go back to their vet, they see a different vet.
Yeah.
And that's almost impossible. Like, especially with animals who can't speak, you want your vet to know what your animal's little nuances are and, whether they're hiding something, whether they normally come in looking like that. And we used to have that all the time. I knew my animals that were coming through the door. The clients knew me. They always wanted me there when the animal was being put down. There was that continuity. It was lovely, and I just don't feel it's like that. I could be wrong. I'm not in vet practice, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. It feels the general theme feels quite cold, quite financially focused, with a lot of really downtrodden staff that are not enjoying it either. So yeah, it's a tricky one, but the whole corporate world mixing with a very emotive industry, I think it doesn't work.
Mm.
but financially it obviously does, right?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Don't know.
Financially, very definitely blooming works for sure.
Especially in London, right, Ross? It must be terrible.
But you
I,
don't have
I,
independent
I,
vets now.
I just see sports cars outside my vet's practices. That's what I see. I do. It's
Do
true.
you?
It's true. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. A, because time wise, and B, because I want to just get this little thing in before we close, and I want to give you a quick update on Husky agility. Um,
Yay.
this new law that's come in on the 18th of March was not a new law, it's an amendment to an already existing legislation, protection of livestock. Um, so this is really cool because we've all seen, haven't we, on social media, these awful clips of dogs, running after horses and the owners can't get the dogs back. And, when you're on top of a horse, the vulnerability is huge. And I know it's our choice to get on a horse, but, we don't need dogs around the horse's legs. And this new law, basically, this amendment is now brought in, it's now an offence for your dog to chase, frighten, or disturb livestock, but it includes horses. And the biggest thing is physical contact's not required. So now, those horrible things that you've seen on Instagram, of dogs running around horses' legs, that's now illegal. And the police are now able to seize and detain your dog, which, I'm not a fan of. Don't get me wrong, I don't want that happening, but they can. Um, they can enter premises without a warrant, then they can collect DNA evidence and stuff like that. And the fines are pretty much unlimited in serious cases. You know, so hopefully it'll just if people are if this gets out and people understand it and general dog owners, it can just focus their mind a little bit. When they see a horse or they see sheep, just put your dog on a lead.
The problem is they can't, Vic.
Well,
That's the problem now is people can't recall their dogs.
well,
They
yeah, but if the people are waiting too long, aren't they? If if they see a horse in the distance, put your
yeah.
dog on the lead. Don't wait until you've you're up behind it, or if you're coming up to a field of sheep. Don't wait until you're right by the fence because dogs can jump fences and things. Get your dog on a lead, and if you haven't got a recall, people know they haven't got a recall. Get the dog on a lead. I just think it's really good that this has happened, and I'm a big fan of this. Did you
Yeah,
know,
I
did you
agree.
know about this, Joe?
I didn't. This is news to me, but what's springing to mind whilst you are talking is that horrific video of the police horse in Hyde Park getting
Oh,
attacked.
don't. I know. Let's
Oh,
know.
honestly, it
No,
makes me go cold.
no, I
So,
can't watch it. No, I
um,
can't watch it. It's horrible.
I'm really, if one of their own wasn't enough to get the law changed, then nothing ever would be, right? So,
No, I
and I'm
do
not saying
wonder.
that's the reason, because I know there's been many, many people, but
Mm,
um, it's flipping scary. I mean, I've always had horses that are very good with dogs and will stand still. So I've never been worried for me in what the horse would do. But as far as particularly little dogs, actually, I've not really experienced too many big dogs, but loads of little terriers and terrier crosses. I remember being in the woods once on George and my old horse, and a lady was walking towards me with a clicker, and this little Jack Russell Terrier was going absolutely garrety at me and the horse,
mm,
running round us. I just made him stand still, and she
yeah,
was literally stood in a bush. What was she doing?
clicking.
Clicking her clicker, telling the dog to come. And there's me trying to have a conversation with her to basically say, that's a positively reinforced piece of equipment that you're using. You are teaching your dog to attack my horse.
Mm,
I mean, the thought processes and the teaching around this stuff is ridiculous. So if unfortunately the law has to come down heavy and that's what it's come to, then yeah, good. I'm all for it. People should be. She was a lovely lady, poor training, poor support. Whoever had told her to do this
yeah.
was incorrect. Probably not her fault, but the whole situation was just insane. So yeah, no, I didn't know. So thank you for updating me in my
No,
little
it's good.
bubble
No, it's
here.
good. That's whole another pod, that whole clicker thing. But yes, and excitingly enough, also applies to poultry. So if you're out there with your dog and you see a chicken, put your dog on a lead. No chicken chasing, no horse chasing, no sheep chasing, no chicken chasing.
There's a name for your podcast episode right there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, we're gonna close now, but I just want to give you a quick update on Yuki agility. So week number 2, last week it was. Is that right? Or was it 3? Don't even know now. Anyway, yeah, he just spent the whole half an hour doing it, not digging it. I mean, in true Husky style.
Doing it, not digging it. What
Yeah,
do you
well, he
mean?
wasn't enjoying. It wasn't particularly. He wasn't digging it. It wasn't floating his boat. He was just doing
Oh,
it.
we did,
And
oh,
it
we didn't
just
enjoy
cracked me
it.
up.
Did
Yeah, it was. Yeah, over he went over a through a tunnel, over a thing, and yeah, off to sniff, over another jump, off to sniff. Yeah, just doing it, just absolutely. I mean, and I spent the whole time, being, the trainer's lovely, and she's telling me what to do and what to do with my body and my body language, getting all
how
excited.
to run?
Yeah, how to run without falling over. She's getting all excited because Yuki's doing it, right? And which is unusual for Huskies. I mean, I know there are things on I mean, Huskies are, don't get me wrong, they're super intelligent and they're completely trainable, but whether if they don't want to do it, they don't do it. It's just sort of as simple as that. And he's just doing this stuff, but he's just doing it because there's no emotion there. It just made me laugh. I just thought, oh, this is so typical. There's me sweating, trying really hard, and he's just like, yeah, popping over this, going through this. I'll do this. I'll stand on this. But actually, all I want to do is go over there and sniff other dogs' wee. That's it. So we had half an hour of, yeah. I felt like it was basically half an hour for me to run around the agility ring. That's what it felt like.
You're easy. We just put a glass of wine over every jump and you'll
Well,
be
you
over
could.
in a
Yeah,
heartbeat.
you could. Anyway, so I don't know. So I don't know how that's going to roll. Because if he's
Are you
not
going to keep
enjoying,
taking him?
well, only if he's enjoying it. I'm not going to do it if he's not. I'm not doing it for me. Doing it for him. If he's not enjoying it, then no, we'll try something else.
Leave
Go
the dog at home and go on your own. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
go on my
exactly.
own. Yeah,
Like, this is your commitment, your weekly commitment to exercise, just to run around agility jumps on your own because your
that's
dog
it.
can't be bothered.
That's it. Yeah, you can stay in the car
Yeah.
with his bone, and I can run around the agility room. Oh, silly.
Oh,
Right.
bless him. Well,
Anyway.
lovely. Thank you guys. You've cheered me up
Oh,
heaps as
good. I'm
always.
pleased. Thank you so much, Ross, for joining us and chatting about
Thank you for having me,
networking.
both of you.
Awesome stuff. Right. Okay, Mrs. Croft. Um, we'll see you in 2 weeks'
2 weeks'
time.
time, we're gonna have something else exciting to talk about.
Yes, we will do. We had a bit of a mismatch today just because you're not on full form. So next one we'll do one topic. We might pick, something juicy and we'll just have one topic and we'll pull it apart.
Yeah,
All right, my
another.
dear. That's it.
So,
Thank you so much.
cheers, guys. See you later. Bye.
Bye.